Alright, hello everybody. This is Clint with Custom 3D Specialties. So what we're going to do today is the Creality Cr-Touch Auto Leveling Kit installation on an Ender 3 Max. We got Cura here. We're going to put him to the side. He's just going to watch over, make sure everything goes good. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I hope you guys have liked the content I've put out so far. Get yourself some extra zip ties. So let's see what all comes in the kit. It's a nice pretty box. So we have the manual. We have the Cr-Touch. We have the Ender 3 bracket. We have the Ender 3 Max bracket. No, this is the Ender 3 V2 bracket. Or the Ender 3 Pro, or possibly the Ender 5. And this is the Ender 3, and this is the Ender 3 Max bracket. So I will be using this one. Put this one to the side for now. And put this one to the side for now. We have our Cr-Touch. Very nice quality. I like the feel of it. Doesn't weigh too much. Wire point. Metal pin. Sleekness, very nice. Like the metal pin. Again, this is the Creality Cr-Touch. So we will need that. What else we have in the box? That takes care of everything that was in the foam. We have a Creality card. We have some screws. We have another bag of screws. And we have the wire. And that's everything that's in the box. So let's open up these screws. Okay, so let's glance through this manual real quick here. We got Cr-Touch, the connection cable, some cable ties. Oh, yep, those are on the floor, those fell out. This bracket, right here, that is good for the Ender 3, the Ender 3S, the CR10. Interesting. The Ender 3 Pro, the Ender 5, the 5S, and the 5 Pro. Then we have this bracket. That's going to be this one here. That's good for the Ender 3 V2. Then the bracket that I said before, that's going to be the Ender 3 Max. We'll be using that. We had two M3 by 8 screws and two M3 by 8 screws and two M3 by 6 screws. And then we have, just shows the wiring diagram, goes into the Z stop, onto the board. Run your wires to the Cr-Touch. Applications, Ender 3 series, Ender 5, 5S, 5 Pro, CR10. We have some quick instructions on flashing the firmware, because on your original firmware that comes on the printer, unless you've added a BL touch, it is not set up for the sensoring mechanism and the auto positioning to level the bed. It goes on how to connect the bracket to the Cr-Touch, connect the wires first, connect it onto where your extruder goes, then finally connect onto your board. So we got some beginning. Step number 1 here. Go into the Z offset value. And I'll walk through all this, but just give you a quick little visual. Sure the glare's not too bad on there. And then this part is adjusting your slicer so that that knows that you have a Cr-Touch, or if you go a BL touch. And then it just gives a couple applications, and there we go. Okay, so that's the instruction booklet. So, let me get back down here. So what we will do is, this is the toolkit that comes with the Ender 3 Max. Creality provides. Let's move all this to the side. And let's turn on our printer. We're going to go to the info screen. So you push your dial rotary knob, go to prepare, go to auto home, then we are going to want to just make sure our bed is level. So we will go to info screen again. Scroll down to control. Go down prepare. Go to disable steppers. Push the button in. Now you can move your bed, and you can move the head of your printer. take your card, make sure you're level, and you feel your little bit of resistance. Do all four corners. Okay. Go back to your rotary dial. Go back to prepare. Go back to auto home. Push your dial in again, go to info screen. Go to prepare, go to move access. Go to move X. Go to move 1 millimeter. And write down the number that it says here. Mine says negative 003.5. We're going to close out of there. Go back up to move access. Go to move Y. Go to move 1 millimeter. Copy this number down. Mine says negative 001.0. Back out of there. Go back up to move access. Go down to move Z. Go down to move 1 millimeter. And write down what that one is. Mine says plus 000.0. Back out of there. Go to move axes. Go back up to prepare. Go back up to main screen. Go back up to info. So now you have down what your values are now, just in case you need to resort back to those later. That is basically what it says to do right here. That's all the beginning steps of what's in the manual. That covers the first 2 pages up to here. So now what we'll do is we will flash the firmware, because we do not have the bed leveling option that they're asking for in our menu screen right now. So we're going to flip this over and we will go to this section. So you're going to want to grab your computer. So what you want to do is grab your laptop and you want to go onto Creality.com. There we go. And you want to go over to support. Then you want to go down to download. Then you're going to want to scroll down and you're going to want to find Ender series firmware. Then you're going to find Ender 3 Max. Now don't just grab the first one. You have a couple different ones in here. Okay? You have one for the 4.2.7 board, and you have one for the 4.2.2 board. They also have the regular firmware along with the BL-Touch / Cr-Touch firmwares. So what we're going to want, we need to check and see what board we have in our printer. So how do you do that? You have to open up this case right here. So we're going to turn our printer off. Wait for it to power down. Unplug your printer. And just try and turn your printer back on. Sometimes these power supplies hold a little extra power. We're opening the board. We don't want to shock anything, you know, to damage our electronics. So we're going to grab our toolkit, and we're going to find the wrench that fits this screw right here. We're going to remove this one. Put it where you won't lose it. Don't mix it up with your screws from the Cr-Touch. I'm going to come down here. Also, this is a good time to make sure your SD card is not in the slot, because we are messing with we're going to look at the board, and later we're going to be unplugging the Z wire and plugging in this wire in place of that. So now we have to lift up our printer, or you can turn it over. Just make sure not to drop it. Okay. Then we have 3 more screws on the bottom here. Remember to keep these separate from the screws that you got with the Cr-Touch. So you're going to in total have 3 short screws, these 2 bottom ones, and the one on the top, and you're going to have 1 long screw, which will be the one in the back. Now careful, because as you just seen, the only thing holding this on is the fan wire. So, being careful, you can stand it on the extrusion part here. Just make sure not to put it under your board and crack your board. So now, on your board, right here under where it says Creality, there's going to be a number. Mine says V4.2.2. And while you're down here, you might as well take advantage and save yourself some time and plug this cable in right away. This is less times you have to turn the printer over. You have two ends on here. You have a big end and you have a small end. The small end goes into the Cr-Touch. The big end goes into your board. Now right here underneath your ribbon cable, just to the right and to the bottom, you're going to see an empty slot. That is where this cable goes. You're going to go with the clip facing up. Just push that in. And then what you're also going to want to do is run it out with the rest of the wire harness coming out like this. Leave it a little loose. Don't pull it tight. You know, you don't want to do that. Leave it a little loose. Make sure it's tucked back where it's not going to get pinched when you put the cover on. The final step when you're down here is we have to remove the Z cable from the board, which that is going to be in the same area. If you look just under where you plug that clip in, you're going to see a couple little black wires. Each bundle's going to have two, and you're going to have little yellow collars. You can look at those collars and you can see what it says. The very first yellow collar, you have two whites, or 4 white wires, equaling 2 plugs. That very first black set of wires and the yellow clip say Z. You can pull that out. Just unplug that. Then kind of give it a wiggle, see where it runs. Grab that wire and pull it out of there. There we go. And then you can grab it up here on top. And it's not going to fully come out of the hole. But get it out as far as you can so it stays. Make sure your cable is still ran okay. Make sure you didn't unplug the one next to it, which will be the Y end stop. Make sure that's plugged in. There is some silicone that comes from the factory on all the wire connections to make sure that they stay seated during shipping. And now we can put our cover back on. So again, lift up gently, make sure it does not go underneath the front of your board. And this is going to go just like this. This piece is going to go to the open side. You're going to have your 2 holes up front. You're going to have your 1 hole in the back. You can see the wire's not going to get pinched. Everything else looks okay. Cover goes on pretty nice and smooth. No wires in the way. Now grab one of your small screws that you pulled out. Kind of get that started a little bit in one of the holes. May have to move the plate around a little. Oh, looks like my light just shut out here. Alright. I'm gonna grab the next little screw and put that one up in the top. Just get it started. Make sure not to strip the hole or the screw. Then we will grab the big one. Make sure all the wires are not pinched on the bottom down here and everything's free in the back, not coming out under the plate. Then we will get this one in there. So now while you're under here too, grab a couple zip ties. And you don't want to run them tight so that you're like cutting the wires, and you know, you just want to put it a little snug just so that it holds it in place. And then cut off the excess of your zip tie. I have a pair of clippers here somewhere. At least I thought I did. I guess they go. There they are. Just run a couple more. Kind of straighten the wire out as you go. Make sure it's not kinked or split. See? I can still slide that no problem, but it holds everything in place. So that's pretty good. I'm clear out the back of the printer. I have this all closed up. Make sure all my wires are clear and out of the way. Let's see if we can do a little cable management here right away. Don't really look like it too much. Well, I guess we'll leave that how it is for now. Okay. Make sure your table is clear for when your press comes down. Gently set it back down, making sure not to set it on the wires. And now we can continue following the wiring harness around. So again, remember what board you have in your printer. That was the first reason we went down there. I hope you wrote it down. Again, mine was the 4.2.2. And you just kind of want to follow this around on the inside bottom. You don't want to twist it and wrap it all around the wiring harness and make it look like a candy cane. Okay. Let's up a little bit. So let's put those. How you doing, Cura? So we're going to continue to follow this up. And we're going to want to follow, you have 3 wires that break off of here. You have the braided sleeve, you have the red, black, and yellow 3-wire, and you have the ribbon cable. So we're going to want to continue following the braided wire. And then when you get to this area, just follow it around. Tuck it under the same wires that follows. There you go. So now when you come around to the back here, you're going to have where they have it zip tied already on corner 1 and corner 2. You can pop them zip ties, or you can try and reuse that hole, but me, I'm just going to cut them off. And re-zip tie everything together. And then let's trim. See? That looks nice. It's loose, it fits the rest of the cable. You know, you can follow it all the way down. You want it loose and following that cable with as much play, because when this rises to the top, you don't want it to pull. And that's why I said work from here, because if you work from this side back, you may end up pulling your wire too tight, and you know, you could end up damaging or breaking the wire, causing your gantry to be crooked. But back on to running this. So now we'll cut this zip tie. And we will add another one here. And that looks like just the right amount of room. then continue to follow the cable around. Now there are already 2 existing zip ties. You can either leave those in place or cut them off and add new ones. For me, I'm going to leave them in place, and I'm just going to add a couple new ones. I'm going to try to run the wire as nice as possible, and I'm just going to connect it to the braided wire, not including the PTF tube like the original ones are. Now if I cut the original ones, then yes, I would go around everything. But I'm leaving the original ones in place, so I am only going around the wire loom. And I will add 3. And before I put the last one on, we'll do that after we get the Cr-Touch installed. So there. See, that looks all nice, very pretty. Wires all connected together. Now, you got this all kind of spread out here. I'm just going to kind of pull it together, and I'm going to put one around everything there. Because all that goes up with the gantry. Okay. Now see, that looks a lot better. Now you have a nice cable system, cable management. Some people don't care about cable management. I like cable management. It looks nice and neat and professional. I deal with multi-million, $100,000 printing presses for my main job. So, okay. Now, let's get this wire out of here. You're going to have one more screw back here underneath of the bed. If you pull the bed all the way forward, you get access to that screw. And we grab our Allen wrench. And we loosen this screw up. And this will loosen this cover up just enough so that we can wiggle out the cable. You don't even have to take the screw all the way out. Then you screw it back down. Your cable is now free. You grab your Allen wrench that fits your Z-stops, bolts, and you can remove your Z-stop. So now, let's continue on with installing the BL Touch. Now that you have your wire all here, and you have your Cr-Touch, or Cr-Touch, but I am installing the Creality Cr-Touch. Now there's only one way that this goes on, and you're going to hold it with the label facing you, and then you're going to see the end where you can see the little metal strips of the wire, and you're going to plug it in like so. And it just pushes right down. Voila! All done. Now we're going to install the bracket, the back plate of the extruder. Let's turn this again. And those two holes are going to be right here. So this will mount just like this. This only goes on one way. So you want to clear the wires. This is going to come up, and you're going to want to flip it over. Now, if you grab the screws that you kept separate, the two M3x6 and the two M3x8s, you can tell which ones are which. The M3x6 are going to be a little shorter, and the M3x8s will be a little taller. So the ones that go into the Cr-Touch and the mounting bracket are going to be the shorter ones. And that'll just slide right through the hole in the Cr-Touch and line up with the hole on the bracket. And you grab your Allen wrench, and carefully make sure that you are nice and easily threading into the holes. Don't go super tight because you still have to put the other one in, and your holes may not be lined up. This is just a plastic casing, although it is a harder plastic casing. Feels like an ABS type injection mold plastic. It is a smoky color, smoky black. Again, if your screw does not feel like it wants to go in, don't force it. Go back the other way and try again. And then eventually we'll just screw in nice and easy. Last thing you want to do is strip one of these screw holes or break the piece where the Cr-Touch mounts to the bracket. So now that we have that all mounted, we will take our M3x8 screws, put it in the top hole, and line it up with the top hole on the extruder carriage bracket. Again, very carefully, make sure that you're threaded. You don't want to strip these holes or the screws. Screws are more replaceable. Last thing you want to do is have to go run to your local hardware store or order new bracket, carriage, because you stripped the screws. or the screw holes. There we go. Now I'm just going to leave that hang as low as possible. I'll tighten up the bottom one first, making sure it is hanging pretty straight. You don't want it to be hitting or touching your fan either. You also don't want the pin to be coming down on an angle. Now you can tighten your top one. Make sure your bottom one's tight. And now we can put on our last zip tie. Yep, I stuck it through the braid. There we go. See? That's all the way home. That's still a little loose. We can take and push this. You want to make sure that you do have enough. So, looks like I need to pull a little bit back forward. So we just start at the back. And in between every zip tie, just give a little pull. Okay. Come around here. There we go. See? You can just see it working a little bit at a time. And still a little tight. And there we go. So that's all good there. And now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to bring this all the way up and just check the height. So we'll turn that by hand. Make sure this can come out the side. Let's raise it all the way to the top. as you can see. Okay. So that's not too bad. You see it just follows the wires nice. It's not real tight. You can still go up a little more. That's pretty much, you know, the max you're gonna get there. You know, it's not tight, not stretched. Everything's nice and loose. Can come all the way over to the side fine. Go all the way back home. So it looks like we'll want to add one more zip tie. And that'll be right here. Just to make sure that this wire doesn't catch on here that I noticed when I was pushing it over. So we will cut this and we will cut that. There we go. We'll double check it again. Follows everything. And that pulled really tight. And that's as far as it goes. I'll just click these a little more. There we go. Everything's good. Can now bring this down. In there. So now that's all good. I didn't bring it all the way down to the bed. I'm a little bit above. And everything's good there. So we can clean up. Installation pretty much done. Now we're on computer installation of stuff. So, I'll just clean up real quick. We can put our last screw in. Where did I put the wrench? Good. Okay. So you can see, looks very nice, sleek. You barely even see it's there. So now back to the computer. So like I said, I had the 4.2.2. Alright, so from here, you're going to go to your downloads, folder. You're going to find your Ender 3 Max, either 4.2.2 Mainboard BL Touch or 4.2.7. You're going to open this up. You're going to extract all. You will take your mini SD card. Make sure it don't have any important information. Put that into your computer. And you want to format. Then you're going to open your BL Touch firmware. This does work for the Cr-Touch too. Obviously, that is what I am installing. We're going to take and copy this over to our mini SD card, micro SD. We're going to eject. So from here, we're going to insert the SD card upside down. We're going to plug in our printer. And we're going to turn it on. And the firmware will automatically start to download. So now we're going to want to go to Prepare, go to Auto Home, now we're going to want to go to Control. We have BL Touch, we have bed leveling, filament. So we want to go bed leveling, we want to go level bed. Now it's going to do 9 points on the bed. So far I like the fluidity of how it's working. like that you kind of get a little confirmation besides the light, that you hear the little pin go up and down. So while this is finishing this, grab your computer again, and you will want to go, you can close all this, go to your web browser, and you will want to go to Thingiverse, and find the Ender 3 Max bed level. You'll want to download that. The downloads. Go to Ender 3 Max bed level. Go to extract all. Extract. Now we have our files here. Jet bed level print Ender 3 Max. Jet bed level print Ender 3 Max G code, and the Jet bed level Ender 3 Max G code. Oh, I forgot to say print in some of those. So we got everything there. We can close that. We can close that. We can go to our Creality slicer. Now while that's loading, we can go back to our printer. And what we're going to want to do here now is we want to set our Z offset. So we want to go back to info screen, go back to prepare, go to move axis, or axes, go to move Z, and we want to go down to 0.1 millimeters. And we just slowly want to bring this down until we are at our normal. Yep, that's going down. Until we are level. Or you feel the resistance like you would manually leveling the bed. This is why we wanted to make sure you started with a flat bed before. Okay, so see now I got, that's too much. That's too much. There we go, a little bit of resistance. Negative 2.9. So now we can go back to axes, move axes, go back to prepare, go back to main, go down to control, go down to bed leveling, probe Z offset, and negative 2.9. And now that that's set, we go to store settings. It should be stored. Now, let's go to auto home again. okay. And we will do bed level again. We'll go to level bed. And we'll let it run through the 9 steps. Or 9 points. Go back to our computer. Go back to Cura. And we're going to want to add a new printer. So click up here on the printer button. Go to add a printer. Find your Ender 3, Ender 3 Pro, Ender 3 3S. Click that. Gonna rename it. Ender 3 Max. Go to add. Change this to 300. That'll be the x-axis. Change the y to 300. And change the z height to 340. Come down here under G28 Home. You're going to do capital G 29 space semicolon bed level. And then hit enter. That adds a space. And then we hit next. Now our Ender 3 Max is installed in Cura, Creality Slicer. Set up for the Cr-Touch. Now let's load our file. We're going to want the Shep Bed Leveling Ender 3 Max STL. Go to open. I'm just going to check this real quick. I'm going to go to material. We'll put this at 195. And that's the only thing I'm going to change. Well, I'll change the bed temperature too. And then we'll change the bed to 50. Otherwise I will leave everything else the same. Hit slice. Hour and 4 minutes. Grab your SD card. By now your printer should be done auto leveling. Save your file to your SD card. We can eject. Now insert into your printer, push the button, go down to print from TF, select your Shep bed level print, and your printer starts heating up. your bed will heat up first, then your extruder or hot end will heat up. Well, this is doing this. I'm going to install some filament and put the filament spool holder back on. Go. Slide that all the way forward under the motor. Make sure your wires for this side are coming out on the side, not behind the printer. The bed cable, that can come out behind the printer. You'll want to make sure your filament comes off your spool from the top, and also that you are not putting in dry breakable filament. So break off a couple inches, make sure you get down the flexible. See, it's getting there. There we go. You'll feed that through your filament runout sensor. Through your extruder into your PTFE tube or Capricorn tube, which will be blue if you have that, and push that all the way down into your extruder or into your hot end. So our bed is up to temperature now, and we are heating the hot end and the nozzle. This will be the moment of truth. Fingers crossed. So back to the Cr-Touch. That's what this video really is all about, and installing it on the Ender 3 Max. I do like the appearance of it. It's almost as if it is not there. I almost think these should come standard on, you know, all Creality machines. They just released the CR Smart, which that one does have auto leveling on. But this is a nice option to retrofit the older models that were made before auto bed leveling was even in the picture. So we're up to 194, 195. Let's hope this all homes and levels correctly. Now, if for some reason you do see your nozzle is too close to the bed or your nozzle is too high, you can adjust your Z probe offset during the print. So you push your button, you go to tune, scroll down, you'll have speed, you'll have nozzle, bed, fan speed, flow, probe Z offset. You can click that and you're able to adjust on the fly so that you get the correct first layer that you are looking for. And so far it seems like this is working correct. It homed the X, it homed the Y, it homed the Z. Now it is doing the bed level. It has 6 more points to go. This cable does look a little funny here, so I think I'm going to cut this one black zip tie. I can always add one later if I don't like it. But that way, that just kind of releases PTFE tube a little bit and doesn't have such of a hard arc right here. Cables are still being held up. We're still connected by one here, so. Alright. 2 more points to go. Alright, let's see how our layer adhesion is. Going to do the test purge. And there we have some filament. All right. We have success. And so far, that's looking pretty good. That is all secure. So, I'm not even going to adjust this. I'm going to stay where I'm at. Go all the way back to the home screen. I'll just let this print for a couple more layers here. Well, that has been the unboxing of the Creality Cr-Touch, the installation of the Creality Cr-Touch on an Ender 3 Max, the firmware update to be able to use the Cr-Touch, also the Z offset or Z probe offset, and creating the Ender 3 Max printer in Cura or Creality Slicer or any other slicer that you may be choosing to use. Just make sure to change your X and your Y to 300 and your Z to 340, and to put your G29 right after your G28 so that it knows to do an auto bed level. Now it will do that before every print, but you're guaranteed every print is going to adhere to the bed correctly the way it should. Those are not coming up. That is beautiful. I am very, very happy. Thank you, Creality. A, I love the Ender 3 Max. B, Cr-Touch, very, very, very nice additive. Highly recommended for anybody, beginner to professional. Just takes having to dial these and mess around every time. It'll automatically level to your bed. And sometimes you can't get your bed perfectly level because there are dips in the glass or the aluminum plate. well, this will compensate for that. So, thank you everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a little something. Again, give me a thumbs up, like my video, subscribe. Always gonna have new, interesting unboxings, assemblies, product uses coming in the future. Clint, Custom 3D Specialties. Take care.